Alright, let's make Facebook ads. Add shortcuts and create ads is the fastest way to get there. If you are promoting a book on Amazon and you want to send them to your Amazon page or to your blog, you'll choose this one. If you're just doing a page promotion, you choose that one. I usually boost directly from posts, so I hardly ever go through create ads to do that. And I've never done any of these other things. Okay, this is where you're going to put the website you want them to go to. I've done promotions for both of my books, so they're both already there and available to me. Once you put it in there, you don't have to do it again. Let's set the audience. This is where it gets fun. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on two things. This gauge here and this number here. I haven't selected anything, so it's still 191 million people, which obviously you don't want because you'll get non-readers in that and your ad will not be effective. Talking YA, so let's pick the younger side of the audience. And keep parents in mind too, because they might want to buy for their children. Let's do 45 just for fun. Okay, this is where you're going to target interests. You can do demographics. That doesn't really make sense for us. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter what their field of study is or anything, so we're not going to do that. Okay, interest is where we're going to hang out. Maybe behaviors. I haven't had a lot of luck with that. Interest is the main thing. And instead of surfing through and trying to find what I want, I'm just going to type what I want. And it pops up for me. Oops. And now we're down to 82 million. Now if you keep typing words here in this first box, it says include people who match at least one of the following, so this creates an or situation, which means that your audience is going to get bigger over here instead of smaller, which isn't what you want. You want to try to get a focused audience so your ad is effective. So what I'm going to do instead of typing anything else here is go narrow audience. So now it has the interests have to match reading and, in this case, young adult. Let's see what that does. Okay, so look over here. So we were at 82 million, now we're at 16,000. This thing I think is a kind of a new thing, and I don't think it's caught up to what it's supposed to be doing because that's not broad. 16,000 is pretty narrow. It's not too narrow because average reach on some of these ads, I think the most I had was 4,000 overall, so I know I'm not even tapping that entire group. Okay, we can also add a connection type. This is where I wanted to play around with this new part of the audience, friends of people who like your page. So people who like my page, they're probably going to see it. I used to do friends of people who like your page. That means that they'll see that their friends like your page, and I suspect they'll be more interested if they see their friend's face there, so I'm going to select that one. Never done that before. Oh, look what happened up here. Okay, so that works as an and also. So what I'm going to do now, I have to adjust up here. It's fewer than 1,000, so I'm going to take away this. Let's see what that does. Now we're at 62,000. All right, I just picked reading. What if I put young adult up here? We're at 62,000. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go with what I have for that audience. And if I want to, I can save this audience. I already have one called Drake Readers, but I wanted to start at the beginning, so this will be Drake Readers 2. And it will have the difference between that audience and this one is it has this Facebook page connection. Okay, so now you have to figure out what you want to spend. I'm not doing a sale or anything right now. I just want to get the cover in front of people since it's a new cover. I usually do a lifetime budget. So let's say, I want to play around with two audiences, so I'm going to do 20 with two different ads and see what happens. If you look over here, it tells you your estimated daily reach, and that is definitely an estimation because it can go either way. But if you define your audience correctly, it isn't as much of a concern as it would be if you had a really broad audience. You would want to reach more people, so another reason for targeting. Okay, so I'll start it now, and I don't want to go to the 30th, no way. Let's go to Sunday. So we're hitting the weekend. Okay, so a lifetime budget of $20, just changing the dates. The default took me to the end of March, so I had like 20 days. But I've shortened it quite a bit, so now my daily reach is much higher than it was. This I usually leave automatic. This one, ad scheduling, you can do this if you want. If you're targeting mostly in the United States, it might make sense to do that so they're not delivering in the middle of the night. But people do stay up in the middle of the night, especially teenagers, so I usually leave that alone and just let them deliver whenever. But it might be something worth playing with. Alright, now we're going to create our ads. Okay, we're going to do a single image or video in our ads. You can do where it scrolls through 5 images, which as a customer that would irritate me, so I do the single image instead. Down here is where you're going to pick your images. It always gives you a default of the image that's on Amazon, which I usually keep because it actually does pretty well. So I'm going to leave that one alone, and then I'm going to add the graphics I created last night using Facebook's dimension specs, which I'll talk about in a second. Here we go, trade Facebook ad. Okay, so the dimension specs are over here, 1200 by 628 pixels. If you just follow that, you don't really have to worry about the rest of this. What you want is it to work both on Facebook and Instagram, and if it follows in here, I haven't had a problem. Okay, now I'm kind of waiting to see if I get a red error. If I do, that means that there's too much text. I'm not seeing one, so I'm going to say I'm good to go with that one. I made 3, so I'm going to use all 3. Okay, I'm not getting any errors. You would, if you had an error, if it was a red exclamation mark, it would mean that you have too much text in your ad. They have a very strict rule about no more than 20% of your ad can be text. I believe that's based on consumer studies of what kind of ads are effective. So that's something to keep in mind for Twitter as well. Okay, so I'm not getting any errors, so I'm going to keep going here. Okay, so what they put here as your text is what you have at the beginning of your Amazon description, and you pretty much don't want to keep that. So I might type something like that. And it's going to update so you can see what your ad would look like. And it shows you in the different formats what it would look like. So this is what it looks like on the desktop for each one. This is mobile news feed, so this is what it would look like on a phone. This is what it looked like on Instagram. I don't know what Audience Network is personally, but I get a lot of hits from it, so we're going to make sure it looks good there. And then the right column looks like that for that one. And then you can scroll through and see what these look like for all your other graphics. And I don't need to see all of them because the others are basically the same. I'm going to add one word. Okay, so when I've done all that, oh, one more thing. You want to call to action button or they won't know what to click. Okay, so since you're selling something, Shop Now makes sense. So it's like that. And I'm done.